Welcome to the behind the scenes of a Stranger Things inspired short story, Searching for Hopper. This was a short story that my daughter and I put together. We are big fans of the show and have enjoyed all three seasons. Looking forward to season 4 coming out. But with the delay of season 4 coming out, we decided to go ahead and make our own little short story based in the Stranger Things world. More for this for fun for us, but also always good exercise and practice running the camera, our acting, our directing, and production skills. This by no means was a professional production at all. As you can see here, we are currently looking at my living room as I'm placing an Aperture MC light into my lamp over there to be able to control the color of that light a little bit better than the incandescent bulb that's in it. You'll also note here too, I have a homemade dolly. That dolly is actually using some glide gear roller wheels on it. And it's actually able to support myself with the camera rig and some sandbags on that dolly while it's getting moved. It has worked out really well using that dolly for a lot of productions in the last couple projects I've worked on. There is an overhead mic, as you can see, but that mic really wasn't used for this scene at all. We have the talent. Kylie is mic'd up with a lav mic, and that mic was good audio quality throughout, so we used that, but the overhead mic was mostly just a backup mic in case something went wrong with that. You can also see here too that currently I have sunlight outside. We do end up losing the sunlight during this shoot and have to take the Aperture 300, which you can see in the left corner of the screen, outdoors and blast that through the window to simulate sunlight, because we ended up shooting into the evening trying to get this scenes wrapped up here. Against the wall on the right, I have a big sheet of muslin that is draped as a source to bounce light back in for fill into the room. Right now, though, there is so much light from the outdoors coming through the windows that the window light itself is bouncing against that muslin and is also helping to fill the room quite nicely. Just out of frame up above, you can see an Aperture 60D. That is being blasted against that muslin as well as to help bring up the whole ambient. What you can't see in the shot here is a oil hazer that I have running to actually give some of those light streak effects. You can kind of see that here on the GoPro, and sadly the GoPro actually died during the behind the scenes shoot, so I don't have all of our different takes to line it up with the actual production scenes that we used. But I still wanted to put this together and share it because I had a lot of fun making this and wanted to show off some of the things that we were able to accomplish and just some determination to make a fun video. Right now you can see Kylie is practicing tying the blindfold behind her. She had to figure out how to tie that. This was pretty much the first time doing it. There was actually a lot more of that practice that went on. It's not the easiest thing. We had to work through that together, actually. I wonder how much the actual actress for 11 had to practice that before the shots. Also, let's talk about gear real quick here. I am shooting on a Nikon Z6 with an Atomos Ninja 5 recorder. There is a 4x565 matte box attached to the front with a quarter Pro Mist, black Pro Mist filter in it from Tiffin. One of the things that Stranger Things did to really capture that glow and make it kind of a dreamy shot overall is they used a variation of Pro Mist different strength filters throughout the shots. And that really helped give that halation glow to a lot of the scenes that they have, especially at the night scenes. This entire short film was shot using the Zine 35mm full frame lens. It was tricky on all these interior scenes here to not only operate the camera and the framing, but also to end up pulling focus and managing the camera movements on my own. During the dark scenes that we have out in the garage, my friend Logan is running the camera for a lot of the scenes there, so a little extra help being able to do some movement. I was doing a lot of the movement with the dolly, but he was able to operate camera and pull focus at the same time. Definitely a really hard job for a single person to do all three of those types of events together. Much better when you have friends. Life's usually better with friends. So as you can see here in this scene, I have switched out to the hi-hat tripod and am pushing in here to get one of the scenes I show the actual finished product up there in the left-hand corner, and you can see just how short that take actually was. That was probably a good 20 minutes to get that set up, and then to actually get that take to be a good take. I'm not sure exactly how many takes were done until we got that one that we liked, but there was quite a number just to get that. It's very difficult to actually get some of those movements, pulling focus, and operating the camera all at the same time. Plus, then you're working with making sure that the actress is getting the movements down correctly too. So one-man bands, very difficult. This was probably the most difficult shot to pull off by myself. A diagonal movement with the camera, as well as panning it, cueing the actress, and you don't see it because my body ends up blocking it, but there is a very minor adjustment to focus as I'm moving through the frame here. I forget which f-stop I was actually at. It was fairly deep, but there was a little bit of adjustment I had to make after doing several dry runs of this, where I noticed that the hair kind of moved a little bit out of focus. That was extremely difficult to do. A lot of different takes for that. Definitely a first AC would have been awesome, but again, this is a personal passion project that my daughter and I did, so when we can take help and get help, we'll take it, but it's not always available every time we want to do things. Now we're at one of my favorite shots here. Not so much for the technical difficulty at all. This was just a fun shot. I liked how the push-in really emphasized the seriousness of going into her mind to look for Hopper. But I think what I really enjoyed about that was the number of takes that we had to do to get that right. She got her hair caught in the blindfold. The blindfold wasn't lined up properly. And just the fun of goofing off with a 12-year-old on set was a lot of fun trying to get that shot correct. But we had a lot of fun doing that, and that was probably my most memorable shot from the entire day of shooting there. All right, so now we're going to cut my narration here off, and we're going to go to the video I shot a couple days prior to this, where I'm actually talking into my cell phone and giving a rundown of what we did in the garage to actually get the in your mind scenes done properly, where all you see is 11 and eventually you see Hopper. Hey, and welcome to the behind the scenes of the Stranger Things inspired Where is Hopper video starring my daughter as 11. Wanted to show some of the things we did in our garage real quick. Some of this information was actually taken from the behind the scenes of the official Stranger Things show. Excellent show. If you haven't watched it, you definitely should. Last of season 3 was a cliffhanger of what happened to Hopper. So we decided to do our own little stage in the garage, set up the shoot, and more or less just kind of exercise some camera talents and some video techniques and perfect our own craft and do something that we really enjoyed doing because we really are big fans of the show itself. So wanted to show some of the things we did here. So jumping right in, the background there is all blacked out. As you can see, you have a bunch of black cloth hanging. It's actually black broadcloth. Up top, you can see I have a whole bunch of muslin actually draped over with a bunch of lights up in the rafters there in the attic. I'll take you up there in a second and show you that. And then down here on the floor, we put a whole bunch of black tarp down, built up the walls using PVC pipe so it could hold water to simulate the water effect that you have whenever 11 was searching for things with her mind. And then I have a homemade tripod or homemade dolly here with my tripod and camera rig on top of it. So we could do some of the pan shots and moving shots while we had my daughter Kylie looking around as 11 in the shot. So as you can also see here too, this is an actual functional garage. Like there's a bunch of tools over there, got a motorcycle in the corner. So we pretty much just carved out an area roughly 12 by 15, but only really one full wall and then half of the 2 other walls, just to be able to get everything to fit in there and not go broke buying a bunch of black fabric. Because I had to buy all this stuff to be able to do this shoot, but it has other practical purposes, again, for other shoots in the future. So it was a good use of time, experience, and money to get this done. So let me stop here, get the ladder set up, and I'll pop up into the rafters to show you how that was done. All right, so now we are up in the rafters here, and you can see I have a hodgepodge of lights. We have one aperture light over here, another aperture light. That one had to have some barn doors on it just to help cut because we were getting a little bit of spill on the back wall. And then over here we have two old SL60W, some of my first continuous lights that I got, and an aperture 60D. The 60D was actually critical to be able to fill in a dead spot in the muslin, just because of the coverage up here with wood being in the way of things. We actually had some shadow, pretty heavy shadow on the muslin, which was visible on camera down below, and kind of created a little bit of shadow in that area. So threw a little 60D over there just to kind of illuminate underneath the boards right there in the middle. And that helped even out the distribution of the light down below. And as you can see, the muslin had to get purchased and bought as, I think it's 3 feet, 1 yard maybe, 4 feet, 3.5, something like that. I forget what the actual bolta is for fabric, but it was 30 feet long, but not very wide. So in order to help cover that a little bit, I used some clamps in between there to help give it a little bit more coverage. As you can see over here, you have a little bit of a split in the muslin, but that way it wasn't a problem because you weren't shooting in the area where light fell over there. So I'm sorry about the camera here changing. Like I said, this is my cell phone doing this work, but I wanted to show up here what we actually did. Everything's ran off of this 120 amp circuit. So lots of lights, and it was sufficient to be able to actually shoot the whole scene, I believe at ISO 160 that we ended up shooting at. So incredibly low ISO in order to actually capture 11 walking around down there and have her properly illuminated. So as you can see, it doesn't need a whole lot of light. It's a lot of different lights just to give coverage, but as far as individual brightnesses go, the SL60W was plenty bright for this scene. Just needed several of them to be able to fully illuminate the muslin fabric. All right, so just wanted to give you a quick behind the scenes here of what we did. You've seen up here in the lighting area now and down below. Hope this inspires you to go do some shooting as well. Muslin fabric, black tarp, and the black fabric I did to cover a 15 by 12 area was less than $200. So not a lot of materials. Everything except for the plastic can really be reused. So and the plastic really wasn't all that expensive overall. So get out there, make some things, be creative, and hope you enjoyed this. Let me know down below in the comments. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.